Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone. Welcome to your number one source for Native American television news. It's Native News Today. I'm your host, Jason Salzman, and flying solo today as we head into the Christmas holiday. Only got one more week, so get that shopping out of the way. Everybody has a few more days to get everything in order, get all the presents wrapped, and hopefully you have a nice little Saturday here where you can just sit back, watch Native News Today, and we're very glad to be bringing you the program. We got a great show lined out. Lots of things going on in Indian country, lots of news-making headlines and things like that. And around here, we're just chasing leads. We're talking with several different types of stories today, so it's going to be a nice little eclectic mix for the folks at home watching us. And we have a new council member that's going to be talking about the unique challenges ahead and getting used to being on Muskogee Creek Nation National Council, a Creek family that has been in business in Altmogee for several years, making major changes, a big project that they have going on. They're very excited about here in Altmogee, going to bring a lot of excitement to the area. We'll feature them as well. And, you know, we have also just so many things around the holidays as we talked about the angel tree, and we talked about the toy drives. PR getting in on the holiday spirit too. We'll go over and check out the tree auction for a good cause. But all that and more on this week's episode. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Ajai Jahaniat, Omen, Ibuwakidos.
Daniels in Ogitskish, Bonshongi Benoat, Bomio, Boshomizatlish.
Momesh, Harishongigo Imongin, Hobidagi, Ani Omaga, Bomaha Hoye, Imongin Oma, Bonshomegigosh. For more information about Muskogee language preservation, please call us at 918-732-7724.
Jehojef get Paul Fixacodos. Ich can not take over Microsoft I'm able to preach in English and Muskogee, our language too, so there's not many that does that today. When I was growing up, that's all we had, Muskogee language, and that's all they preach. I could talk my language when I was small. When I grew up, I could understand what they were saying. We don't want to lose that, language, especially our songs, our native songs and the Muskogee hymns. We want to keep them.
And welcome back to Native News Today. Certainly thank you all for being with us. And we'll get started with our very first story of the day. It takes us right over to the executive building here at the Muskogee Creek Nation Capitol Complex. As I mentioned earlier, around the holiday time, so many departments, programs, agencies here at Muskogee Creek Nation get involved in philanthropy and charity, and the spirit of giving at the holiday season, Christmas, really just infects all of us, and we get into that mode to where we just feel like, what can we do? What can we do to make a difference? And that's certainly the case at Public Relations Office. Mr. Edwin Marshall and Neely Sudo, all the great people over there, do a wonderful job, and they got involved with a tree auction this year. A little idea there, I believe, was from Luann Bear, as you'll see in the story here, but tree auction, and the proceeds, chili cook-off, all kinds of things go to a great cause, the Moreau Indian Children's Home, which we featured on this show before, and we definitely wanted to cover it. The Muskogee Creek Nation Office of Public Relations is getting in the Christmas spirit of giving with the recent tree auction fundraiser. Public Relations Manager Edwin Marshall says helping others is just the Muskogee way.
We here at the Muskogee Creek Nation support a lot of causes, and a lot of, we're community minded, we're community oriented because we've got citizens living in communities everywhere, and those communities aren't limited to just cities, towns. We have organizations, we have certain facilities that we like to support, and not only for the sake of our citizens, but for the community in general, because we want to be good partners.
Marshall also talked about how many other tribal programs are involved in holiday charity and PR's desire to give back as well.
The RIP, the reintegration program, has their toy drive going on for Christmas. The Children and Family Services, of course, has their annual angel tree, which has been going on for years and years and years. But at the Public Relations Department, we've kind of taken on a little initiative of our own, and that's to support the Murrow Indian Children's Home. The Murrow is a institution that basically is for foster children, children that are in need of a home, or just basically a home that provides education, a home environment for children, stuff like that. So in doing that, back in the Thanksgiving, around Thanksgiving, or actually Halloween, we had a fundraiser called a goulash contest, where several people made their favorite goulash, and they gave them bragging rights to whoever won that contest. And I knew I won the goulash contest. But no, we sold the goulash, and we also sold, at that time, we sold chances on some football tickets and things like that, just to raise a little money for Murrow Indian Children's Home. And we've continued this through the Christmas season. As you can see behind me, we've got several small decorated trees. Luann, our administrative assistant, put together a little tree decorating contest and then a silent auction. So these trees will be up for sale today in a silent auction, and obviously the winning bidder will get to take those home. We'll take those monies along with the proceeds from our chili cook-off. We're going to be selling chili for $3 a bowl, and to the employees, and all the money that we raise from that, combined with the goulash contest and the football tickets and other things that we've done, we're going to just try to combine those and just help what we can with Murrow Indian Children's Home. I know that they do receive assistance from other areas. Even the tribe, I think, it has an annual appropriation to help them. But it's just our little thing here at the Public Relations, and the tribe, the employees, everybody, all the departments around us, they've been real great about supporting our cause, and I think everybody can, certainly wouldn't argue that Murrow Indian Children's Home is a great cause, because we want to make sure that those kids have an opportunity to have a great Christmas, just like anybody else's family.
And thanks again to the folks at PR, a great job and a great cause there, the Murrow Indian Children's Home, really making a difference in those kids' lives. So it's a great, great charity and a great philanthropy for PR, and we'll see that continue in the coming months as well. Shifting gears a little bit to our some governmental things. The Muskogee Creek Nation is a functioning active government, just like the United States of America. We have an elected executive office. We have a legislative body, and when you become in that legislative body, you realize the little nuances and the things about being a Muskogee Creek Nation national councilman that you didn't know before, especially if you're new to the process. And when we have elections, there are turnover and there are new councilmen. And on this show, we wanted to sort of introduce you to our new councilmen one by one. So first up is Mr. Lucian Tiger, and from the Tulsa district. Lucian's ran a few times and definitely excited about his chance to now be a Muskogee national councilman.
It was a relief because I ran 2 years ago, lost by a small margin in the general election, so I knew what I needed to do this time to win. So it was a lot of work, a lot of hours, a lot of shaking hands door to door, and it was a relief to win the election, showing that your hard work that you put in pays off. Nervous energy, good energy, because there's a lot to absorb, a lot to obtain, a lot of information out there that you don't realize and that your citizens don't realize. There's a lot of work that goes into being a council representative. There's a lot of pressure to do things right from everyone. They want you to do things right, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. I would just like to see us focus on getting the purchases that we've already made in the previous 2 years profitable. We need to get those businesses up and running and get them going well and continue to make good purchases, to make where it's good for everyone in our nation, not just certain areas or districts. That's what I'd like to see. And that's what is so important in the upcoming election in 2 years for the seat A's, because you'll see if your representative is really there to help the nation, because you're going to have to go to all these different districts so they can see you and know who you are. So when you're up for election again in 2 years, they'll know if they want to vote for you or if they're not, because if you're a good representative, you're going to go to all the different communities, make yourself visible, and help all of them. Those start immediately. We need help with this, that, and the other, and we have issues with this. It started immediately, which is good. Still, you get to meet people, you get phone calls, people you don't know. You develop a good rapport with as many people as you can, and the main thing is return the phone calls, and your citizens are happy. I would just like to thank everyone that supported me through this last election, and for those that didn't, hopefully I can earn their support. So when my term is up in 4 years, if I choose to run again, then they will vote for me, the ones that didn't. And the ones that did vote for me, I hope I continue to make them happy with my job.
You know, throughout the course of this year on this program, we really highlighted the Muskogee Creek Nation TARO program, the Tribal Employment Rights Office. And this is part of an effort with the Muskogee Creek Nation here in the last year. It really has amped it up. Small business development, small business, you know, encouragement, and really wanting our Creek citizens that have small businesses to really thrive in this area and really stay right here. And that's the case for a small Creek Nation family owned business since 1965 here in Altmauge, Neil's Furniture, and they've always been really good as far as keeping things in Altmauge. And now a very, very big development going on just across from the Capitol complex. Neil's Furniture, new big building, taking the store from 6th Street, combining it there, and it's always great to tell the story of our Creek citizens that are doing a wonderful job and small business growing, keeping things right here in Altmauge County. And that's why we were invited. We had to go over for the groundbreaking at Neil's Furniture new center there. Dirt's moving and business is expanding in Altmauge across from the Muskogee Creek Nation Capitol Complex. Although it's not a project of the tribe, it is Muskogee citizens that are responsible for the growth. Neil's Furniture, a Creek family-owned business founded in 1965, is expanding its operation in the capital city, an expansion that will make them the second largest retail center in Altmauge, next to the Walmart Corporation.
We're in the process of building our brand new 42,000 square foot showroom on the Highway 75 and Loop 56, right across the street from the Creek Nation complex. And what we're doing is we're shutting down our 6th Street and the Neil's location, we're combining the two. Like I said, it's 42,000 square foot, and we're gonna have a 27,000 square foot warehouse. So a lot more variety for our customers, a lot more shopping, and a lot more storage. So what's so great about the storage is to get better pricing for our customers, we buy in bulk. And with having the 27,000 square foot warehouse, we're gonna really be able to take advantage of that. And we're still gonna have our store in Henrietta, right on Main Street in Henrietta, and it's 37,000 square foot. So inside the county, you're gonna have a lot of shopping space. And that's what we're trying to do, is capture more people, you know, going to Tulsa and that kind of thing.
For the Neils, the efforts Muskogee Creek Nation has made to see its citizens' small businesses grow and thrive has been impressive.
We've already been in business with the Creek Nation as far as appliances for their housing and stuff, but yeah, with the TARO, which is going to be huge, I mean, that's a great thing that Rob Doherty's heading over there, and we've already been taking advantage of it. So, I mean, that's awesome. That's an awesome program that they got. It's really neat, and that's something that we've been doing.
For this family, it's never a hesitation to discuss the pride in their Muskogee heritage and what it means to them.
Obviously, it's huge pride, and Creek Nation's been a huge part of our business being successful. They employ the highest number of people in Altmauge County, so that's huge in itself right there. But as far as being a citizen, something we're very proud of. Creek Nation has meant a lot to us. All my siblings that you saw sitting down there with me, Creek Nation, you know, helped us out through college and just every way. I mean, Creek Nation is huge for us. You know, being a Creek citizen and being able to be right across from the headquarters of the Creek Nation is pretty awesome. And then being able to own your own business is something that's been really, we have a very big proud factor.
The project is scheduled for completion in the fall of 2014. In Altmauge, Jason Salzman for Native News Today. And our top feature brings us this week right here in Altmauge. Big newsmaker, big headline going on. Muskogee Creek Nation officially opening the Muskogee Creek Nation Physical Rehabilitation Center, formerly the George Nye Rehabilitation Center. You know, if you're a follower of this program, and we know you are, a few months ago you saw we have basically chronologically followed this whole event leading up to now with the signing with David Boren there at OU of George Nye. You know, health system really doing a great job to make sure that this is something that we want to pursue. And now we're opening the facility, and it was just a great thing to be there. A very nice you know, ceremony that they had. Chief Tiger spoke. There were state legislators in the house, public servants from around the Altmauge area, the mayor, just a lot of people excited about the Muskogee Creek Nation Physical Rehabilitation Center, and it's now open right here in Altmauge.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. As I've said all along, we share communities as Muskogee Creek Nation, and this is our capital city. And as I stated to the mayor and some others here in this community, I grew up in this community, and I felt like that we could serve as a role model for other communities within the jurisdiction of the great Muskogee Creek Nation. It's no longer about community versus Muskogee Creek Nation or Muskogee Creek Nation versus communities. It's about pooling our resources together so that it can be a win-win. And it would be something that we as citizens of these communities can come together and see what we can do in being able to work together. And I think today is a testament to that. I think anytime we can collaborate and join partnerships with the communities that we all share in, that it's just a good win-win thing for everybody involved. And I think this is a great testimony to that. I know earlier it was said that this is one of the premier rehab programs or facilities in northeastern Oklahoma. Since we've actually started the process to take over the operation of it, other tribes throughout the nation are hearing about this facility. So it's going to kind of build up a nation-to-nation thing for clientele outside the state of Oklahoma and outside Muskogee Creek Nation jurisdiction. Someone asked me earlier today about the model, what model we were, I guess, following. I said we're actually following Muskogee Creek Nation's model because we were first tribe in the country to have our own hospital, first tribe in the country to take over a clinic, and we're just kind of reawakening that blueprint, if you will.
The staff at this facility is very excited about the association with Muskogee Creek Nation Health. We offer inpatient physical rehabilitation, we have skilled nursing, we have long-term acute care as well as outpatient, inpatient, pediatrics, cardiac rehab. A lot to offer this community, and I think everyone's very excited to be able to have everybody be able to come to this facility for their health needs instead of having to travel several miles north or wherever. Initially, when this whole process started probably 8 or 9 months ago, there was very little communication. Muskogee Creek Nation has come in, has communicated, has met with staff. It has been definitely a breath of fresh air for them to come in and meet with staff and be excited about what's going to be offered and changes that will be made. And I think staff's initially they were anxious, but I think everybody is very excited now. We are, for the changes that we see coming and what we can provide for the community.
Well, you know, we're here today and that we officially can be a part of the team. You know, and it's always difficult when you come in and you acquire something like that. There's always going to be questions from the current staff. And then at this point, and after they got to know us and know that our direction and our plan, it's been a great mesh for both parties. And we have the same thing in mind, and that's to take care of these patients in this community. We send so much out a year and we're in referral services, and that's what we're trying to do is bring those services in. And this right here, they've already provided great care, always provided great care. We're very lucky. And what we do is we feel that we can add on top of that and just make it a stronger facility and compete with the rest of the facilities of this type in the state.
Every now and again here at Native News Today, we're so blessed to be able to have such a wonderful archive of old footage and things like that. We know a lot of our viewers, you know, sometimes we show that and, you know, we may show something we think is going to be a big story everybody's really going to like, and then we'll show some archive, and then the thing that people are calling us up about is you got to show that again, is always the old footage. So we want to show you some stuff, and we pulled from the archive here, the vault, and some stuff from back in the day. And we hope you enjoy this archive footage.
In the beginning, there was no land. Water covered all the earth below. So a great sky council was called to see if the world can be made into a good place to live. The eagle was chosen as leader of the council. He said, "Let us send someone down to the world to find earth from which we can make land. Who will go? The crawfish stepped forward and said, I will go down to search for the land. The council agreed to send the crawfish. But the eagle warned, you shall have only 4 days to find earth, when you must return to the sky council. So the crawfish went down into the waters below. He swam around in the waters for 3 days, but could find no land. Finally, on the 4th day, the crawfish said, I must take one last look before returning to the sky. So he dived as hard as he could down to the depths of the water. There he struck something. It was earth. He began to stir up the mud with his tail. He collected some of the mud in his claws and piled it up high above the water. So on the evening of the 4th day, the crawfish returned to the sky council. There he stood before all the creatures of the council and revealed to them the wet earth that he had found below. The council was greatly pleased with the discovery of land, but they saw that it was soft. They asked, who will spread out the land and make it dry and hard? The eagle stepped into the middle of the council square and said, I will go below and spread out the land and dry it. So the mighty eagle spread out his long wings and flew above the earth. As he soared over the land, it began to spread out and dry. After a long while, though, he grew tired of holding out his wings, and he began to flap them. As he flapped them, he caused the hills and valleys to form because the dirt was still soft. But soon the lands were dry enough for the animals to live on, and the migration from the sky to the earth began.
Our legends also tell us that in ancient times the Muskogee migrated eastward toward the rising sun. They settled in the southeastern region of North America in what is now Alabama and Georgia. There they established tribal towns along the rivers and streams that snake through the land. My people became successful farmers and hunters in those days. They built large ceremonial mound complexes at the center of the towns for religious ceremonies and council meetings. Modern archaeologists have uncovered vast quantities of ornately designed artifacts from these locations: engraved shells, copper plates, stone pipes, and other manufactured goods reveal a highly organized order of civilization. Long before the white man came, the Muskogee people had formed a powerful union of tribes, or bands, called the Muskogee Confederacy. At one time, their capital was located on the Ocmulgee River in what is now Georgia, and representatives from each tribal town met in council there. Agriculture, art, trade, and other activities of the civilization flourished. The annual green corn ceremony was held each summer in the town squares, and regular stickball games were played on the town ball fields. Then, in 1540, Hernando de Soto, a Spanish explorer, and his army swept across the Muskogee lands. It was the first time the Muskogee had encountered Stehetki, the white man, and things haven't been the same since. In the centuries that followed, immigrants from Spain, France, and England came to settle the lands of the New World. Because my people built their towns near waterways, the British called us Creek Indians, a name that has remained with us to this day. In the 1700s and 1800s, first the Europeans and then the Americans greedily cast their eyes on the lands of the Creek people. Untold numbers of settlers flooded our lands, and citizens of the new state of Georgia began calling for the removal of all Indians from their midst. Piece by piece, through warfare and treaty, our lands were slowly lost to them. Finally, defeat came at the hands of the cunning and deceitful Andrew Jackson in the Red Stick War of 1813 and 1814. Then the Indian Removal Act of 1830 forced the Creek people to give up their homelands in exchange for a new home west of the Mississippi River. Over 4,000 of my people died during the well-known forced migration that followed, the Trail of Tears. They marched through the bitter cold with little food or water to their new life in Indian Territory. Once in Indian Territory, the industrious and determined Muskogee began the difficult task of rebuilding a nation in the unfamiliar land. The ancient tribal towns were reestablished. The sacred fires kept burning throughout the long journey were ceremoniously placed in the new town squares. Crops were planted, homes were built, ceremonial dances and the green corn celebration live on. After the Civil War, a permanent capital site for the new Creek Nation was selected near the Deep Fork River and named Okmulgee in honor of the old capital of the Creek Confederacy. A council house was built to serve as a meeting place for the principal chief and the Creek Nation's elected councilmen. A written constitution and a code of laws governed the nation during this period from 1867 to 1907. A national seal was adopted that reflected the Creek people's link to agriculture and land. The old traditions continued, but new institutions like missions, schools, and churches began to dot the landscape. But at the close of the 19th century, a rising tide of outsiders and intruders overwhelmed the Muskogee people until they became once again a minority within their own lands. Economic, political, and social pressures from within and without Indian Territory brought the era of tribal governments to a close. Individual land allotments broke up the communally held tribal lands as the Creek Nation was dissolved. But the Muskogee never forgot who they were. In their homes, churches, and ceremonial grounds, they preserved the Creek ways and taught these ways to their children.
And that'll wrap up this week's episode of Native News Today. Certainly hope everybody out there has enjoyed the program. Want to thank all the great people that made it happen, whether it was the Neal family, and certainly big good luck to them on this newest venture that they have. Creek family, they're doing great things. Wish Lucian Tiger the best of luck in his term as a national councilman, and we'll be talking to some new national councilmen as time goes on too, making sure that you folks out there are well aware of who your public servants are in the Muskogee Creek Nation. And also, you know, what can you say? Muskogee Creek Nation Physical Rehabilitation Center, the George Nye, it's been a reputable place for many, many years. Now the Muskogee Creek Nation teaming up, it should be a very, very good partnership for many, many years to come. So I want to thank you, all those folks, for that. I want to thank you specifically for watching us here. Hope everybody out there has a great holiday. And if you can't catch us here, we're on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, and check us out on YouTube. So with that being said, all the great people here at Native News Today, have a great week.